Hi guys, this is Kunal from Kit Kaksha and welcome to yet another video in the series of socket programming. So till now we have covered only the theoretical aspects of socket programming and some terms which are quite common. So from this video I was supposed to start the actual coding part, but I thought that it would be better if I had explained the APIs or the functions, that is your socket, bind, listen, accept. These are called your APIs as explained earlier. So I thought it would be better if I had explained this in detail and then moved on to the actual coding thing. So as discussed earlier, this is your TCP client server model. This is your server side and this is your client side. Similarly, we have certain APIs such as socket, bind, listen, accept in the server section, and in the client section we are having socket, connect and close that marks the end of our connection. So these are some of the things which I have already discussed in the previous video. Now going forward, we would be covering each and every one of them, that is a socket function, bind function till close function in great detail, including the syntax, including that. Now using this function, I have written down some steps which we would be following in order to create a server using the TCP client server model. So starting with the socket function, we would create a socket and then we would be initializing the socket address structure and bind that socket to an address using the bind function. After that, we would be listening with the help of listen function and then accept a connection with the accept function call system. This call typically blocks until a client connects to the server, and after that we would be receiving and sending data by using the receive function and send function in C. Now this is the step where all the data transfer actually occurs, and after we have shared the data and we close the connection by using the close function. So in order to summarize, we would be using the socket function, bind function, listen function, accept function, receive and send function, and then close function. Now we would be discussing each and every functions in great detail, including their syntax and parameter involved. Now starting with socket function, there are two header files which we would be using in order to include the socket function in our program. So this is the syntax of your socket function. Now we would be creating a variable called socket using int data type, which would be creating three parameters, that is your family, type and protocol. The family might consist either of AF underscore INET, AF underscore INET6 or AF underscore local. Now we would be considering AF underscore INET as family in our program. So we would be sticking with AF underscore INET throughout. Now, as far as the type is concerned, it would be consisting of either sock underscore stream or sock underscore dgram. Now, as far as the TCP client server programs is considered, we would be sticking to the sock underscore stream, which is your TCP, while the sock underscore dgram is your UDP. So in our examples, we would be sticking to sock underscore stream as type while creating the socket function. So last one is your protocol. Now protocol also consists either of these threes, and we would be sticking to the first one, that is IPPROTO underscore TCP for the TCP client server program. So now looking at an example on how to create a socket. So we would be first writing the header files which we would be using to include the socket function in our program. Now inside the main function, we first declare a variable called socket underscore descriptor, which would contain the output of the socket function. Now if the socket function gives you an output of, let's say, -1, then that means that we have failed to create the socket properly, and if it is anything other than -1, that means the socket has been created successfully and we can move on to the other functions. As discussed previously, AF underscore INET is your family, whereas sock underscore stream is your type, and 0 has been assigned in place of your uh, protocol. Now, and we know that the protocol can either be of type IPPROT underscore TCP for TCP and uh, or IPPROT underscore UDP. Now, there might be a case where we might not be sure whether we want to proceed with TCP or UDP. So in that case, we are assigning your port number as 0. So we are checking if the value returned by socket function to the socket descriptor is -1 or not. And if it turns out to be -1, that means we have failed to create a socket. Now, if it is not -1 and we have successfully created a socket, we would then be moving to the bind function. So binding is the process where we assign a proper port number and IP address to the socket descriptor, which was returned by the socket function. Now, the bind function also includes two header files, and it, like the socket function, contains three parameters as well, which are your sockfd. It is a socket descriptor returned by the socket function. Then myaddr, it is a pointer to the structure called sockaddr that contains the local IP address and port number. And then there is this ADDR len, which is the size of the structure of sockaddr. Now we can also assign a value of 0 as our port number. That means the system will choose a random port number. Now in case you don't want to assign a port number to the system, you can directly assign 0 and the system will choose a suitable port number for our system. And in ADDR, any value for IP address means the server's IP address will be assigned automatically. Now there are certain things which we need to keep in mind while assigning the port number and IP address. That is, all ports below 1024 are reserved, and we can set a port number above 1024 and below 65535. So our port number must fall in this range because the other ones are used by the other programs. For example, the web server uses a port number of 80. So similarly, there are different port numbers assigned for different programs. Now moving on to the listen function. The listen function is called only by a TCP server and it performs two actions. First one is the listen function converts an unconnected socket into a passive socket, indicating that the kernel should accept incoming connection request directed to the socket. Now the second argument to the function specifies the maximum number of connections the kernel should queue for this socket. And the header files of the listen functions are here. Now the listen function contains two parameters, that is your sockfd and backlog. Now the sockfd is a socket descriptor returned by the socket function, while the backlog is the number of allowed connection. Now when a server is listening from a client, it can at a time listen to a number of connections or a number of requests only. So the other connections are standing at a queue to be listened. So basically this serves your purpose. Now, as far as the accept function is concerned, the accept function is called by TCP server to return the next completed connection from the front of the connected connection queue. The signature of the call is as follows. This is your header file and this is your parameters which the accept function would be using. Now this call also returns -1 on error and a non-negative descriptor on success. So the returned descriptor is assumed to be a client socket descriptor and all read-write operations will be done on the descriptor to communicate with the client. Now the accept function contains three parameters, that is your sockfd, that is CLI ADDR and ADDR LEN. Now each of these functions would become much more clearer once we actually write our first program, which would be in the next video itself. Now the last function in the server side is your send function. The send function is used to send data over stream sockets. Now you can use write function system call to send data as well, which has the following syntax, and this contains four parameters. Now the send function return the number of will also return -1 or error, and the send function returns the number of bytes actually sent from the server to client. Now close function. So once all the data transfer process has been completed between the server and client, we actually close the connection between those two. So function close is used to close the socket, and the header function for close function would be this one. So this was it for the server side. Now as far as the client section is concerned, it is almost similar to that of the server side. The only difference lies in the fact that as far as the client section is concerned, we can see that the client section consists of the socket API, and then it consists of the connect API, while the server section does not contain any connect function. So as we can see, the server side has your socket function, then bind function, then listen function, after that accept, and the data transfer takes place, and after that it closes. Now the only difference between these two are the presence of a socket function in the client section, which is used by the client side to establish a connection between which is used by the client side to establish a connection to the server section in order to share or receive data. So going to your client section, which has a connect function. Now the connect function is used by a TCP client to establish a connection with a TCP server. Now these are so the connect function consists of two header files, and it consists of three parameters, which is your sock fd, server underscore addr, and addr len, which consists of the size of the structure called sock addr. So the connect function returns 0 if it is successful, else it would be returning -1 on an error. So this was it for the theory part. So in the next video, we would be writing our first program using the TCP client server model, and we would be sending a message from the server to the client and reverse as well. So stay tuned.